Hi and welcome to this video. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to place the bubbles on the sleeves on all of the bubble garment patterns. That goes for the bubble tee, the bubble sweater, and also when it comes out, the bubble cardigan and any other future pattern. When you look at the pattern, it might look extremely scary when you read the paragraph about how to place the bubbles, but it is really simple. Unfortunately, there is no good way to describe it in writing, because on all the sizes and on all the rounds you do the bubbles, there will be a different stitch count before and after the first bubble. So I thought I would show you in this video instead. Once you get started, it is really simple and you won't have to think about it at all. So you first knit the ribbing as you would on any sweater. Then you knit one round where you also change your needles and divide for raglan. For the next 5 rounds, you are just gonna do as you would do on any other raglan sweater. You're gonna knit one round of increases and one round where you just knit, one round of increases, and so on. The pattern will say all of this. When you get to the 6th round, on the first round here, you will see that there's actually 6 rounds under the needle, but that's because we also had the first round where we divided for raglan and changed needles. But it's meant to be 6 rounds under the needle on the first bubble and then 5 rounds under the bubble on all the other rounds. So when we are doing we're finding where to start our bubbles, the first thing we need to do is to find the middle of our sleeve. You see, this is my sleeve. I started with 7 stitches. I'm not sure how many stitches I'm up to now, 13 maybe. So I'm just gonna find the middle stitch. So I just like to count my way in from the raglan and into the middle. So this stitch here is my center stitch. I'm going to see if I can get it to focus a bit more. I'm sorry about the lighting, but I live in northern Norway and now it's dark for like months, so it is what it is. So I have found my center stitch. Now I need to decide if I want this stitch to be a knit 4 below or if I want this stitch to be the center of the bubbles. If I choose for this stitch to be the center, that means that these 2 stitches are going to be knit 4 below. And this is like in the middle of those knit 4 belows. So in this sweater, I think that is what I want to do. I want to have the center stitch to be the center of my bubble. So knit 4 belows are going to be these 2 stitches. There is always 3 stitches between each knit 4 below. And if you haven't already watched the video on how to knit a bubble, I do suggest that you do that before you start planning your placement of the bubbles. So when you're knitting the bubbles, because I said it was always going to be 3 stitches between each knit 4 below, and that is true. But you also need to take into consideration that you have to have at least 5 stitches below the stitch you're going to drop down. Now you see this stitch is on the sleeve, but that's an increase. So I can't do the first knit 4 below there. And when you look on the second stitch, that doesn't have 5 stitches under it either. So I can't drop this stitch either. So in this case, it's this stitch that I am gonna drop. I could have dropped this one, because that has 5 stitches below it, but this is the stitch that I'm gonna drop to begin with because of the center of the sleeve. So then you just do as you would knit a normal bubble. You just knit until you reach that stitch that you're gonna drop, unravel it, knit it, knit 3, drop the next knit 4 below, knit it, 3, and as you see now there's 3 stitches, but I can't drop this stitch, so I'm just gonna knit that as normal. So that is the first placement of the bubbles. And now it's evenly distributed between the 2 raglan stitches that marks the arms. So I'm gonna just explain it one more time. Just make sure that the center stitch on the sleeve is a knit 4 below or the stitch in the middle of the bubble. Like you see, there's 3 stitches that make each bubble. You have to make sure that the center stitch on the sleeve is either a knit 4 below or the center stitch in the bubble. And always make sure that on the outside here, on the first stitch that you are going to drop, has at least 5 stitches below it. Because you can't drop this stitch down unless there are 5 stitches below it. Now that is going to make you sometimes have 6 stitches before the first knit 4 below, but that is totally okay. That is going to even out as we continue knitting the raglan and getting more stitches here. We're going to continue making the bubbles further and further out. When we knit 5 more rounds and then we get back to when we're going to do a bubble round, the bubbles are going to be placed like not on the same place as this one. Like the next knit 4 below, it's going to be in the center of each of these. So it's going to be on this stitch and on this stitch. And then there will be 3 stitches in between where the center one is the previous knit 4 below. I hope this video helped, and if it didn't, please just shoot me a DM on Instagram or here on YouTube or comment below, and I will try my best to help you get the bubble sweater going. But once you get this first round, maybe you have to do the second round for some of you guys to really see it. But once you do that, it's just so much fun and just straightforward knitting. The bubbles are not gonna look like bubbles until you get a couple of bubble rounds in, but don't worry about that. As you can see, mine doesn't really look like bubbles yet, but it will turn into bubbles eventually. I hope this video helped, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.